Hello friends, welcome back to Student Blog. In the series of DevOps, we are on GitHub and GitHub and Git. So this is second or third video for second or third, I believe, second video for GitHub, Git, and we'll be looking at few commands in this video. So you have a question maybe on your mind, so does we really need to remember all the commands? Then I say no need to remember all the commands. So for best practice, even just to memorize, what you can do is you can go to GitHub, Git cheat sheet. So when you look for a Git cheat sheet, you will be seeing tons of cheat sheets available. But out of this, you can open any cheat sheet. It is not like that you have to go for one. So just you can download it and like you can take a printout and put it at your desk and just look at the available commands here. Just memorize it, or not even you can refer this one, and after like while when you're working on continuously, after some time no need of this one also. It will be by default when you work on this, it will be on your mind. So simply take the printout of this Git cheat sheet and paste it in the workplace, and it will be easier for you guys. But still, I'm just giving some basic commands, 11 to 12 commands, which we use in our daily practice or daily work. So let me take you to the second PPT. So we are daily looking at this flowchart where developers write a code and they will put it on a storage area, that is our Git or GitHub. Like Git is a local repository and GitHub is a remote repository. So we'll give some glance about GitHub today. Then in our next video we'll configure GitHub too. So once the code is code is available at the staging area, it will be pushed to, like, it will be built and packaged and deployed to the concerned environments like QA, like staging, development. When testing is done, that will be pushed to production. So this flowchart is not exactly what going to happen, but it's I'm trying to give a basic understanding for this one. So we are also working on like looking at three stages, like working area, staging area, and repository. So this is local repository when you install a Git on your desktop or laptop. So the first step is working area, where like you will work on a code, and when you run the command git add file name, it will be at staging area, and when you commit it, it will be saved in your local repository. So we are talking about three areas. Today we'll be adding one more area, that is GitHub remote repository. So it will be available globally, or if you have a server, you can install GitHub server also, and you can save it on the server. But here if you see, like from working area it will be sent to staging area. Then Git repo is the repository, local repository. From here we'll be pushing it using command git push to the GitHub repository, and when other DevOps engineer need that same code, he will run the command git pull to pull that code. So this is another picture where it like shows clearly if two developers working on a code, how they will store it in the remote repository. So if you see here, this developer working area copies here, then he will be staging it, then it will be on his local repository, like stage change, commit changes, like these three stages. From here he will be pushing it to the remote repository, that is GitHub, and from there another developer will clone it, fetch it, and pull it to his laptop. Once that is done, like once a code is like some other code is added, it will be pushed to the remote repository, and from there it will be cloned, and it will be pulled to the local repository of developer A. So going forward we'll understand more about this process, but for now we'll be looking at these commands. Almost 10 or 12 commands are there which we use daily in our routine work or daily practice. So first one is git config command. So git config, this command configures the user. The git config command is the first and necessary command used on the git command line. The command sets the author name and email to the user with the comments. Git config is also used in other scenarios. So you see here, like this is the syntax, git config global user dot name and followed by username, and this is to give the email ID. So we already saw this one in our previous video. If you run git config global username, it will give the username, and global user email, it will give the email ID. By that, by running the command, we can check the details whether they are configured properly or not. So second one is git init, that is like this command is used to create a local repository. Init command will initiate an empty repository. You can see here when I run git init, it's saying that initialized empty git repository in seed devops 3, and .git is the repository, local repository. When you try to open DevOps 3 and see that .git folder, it won't be visible. You need to enable hidden files from the Windows Explorer, then only you'll be able to see this. This is a hidden file. Most of the time when you see in your Windows servers or Windows laptops, hidden files are some of them, or most of them are system files which should not be touched. It means we should not play with that files. If you do changes, that will corrupt the system files, or even it will corrupt, if you do some changes in these files, it will corrupt your git repository and it won't work also. So better to stay away from it. So, and going to the next slide, git clone command. So in the picture we saw, like developer 2 is trying to pull the code from the remote repository. At that time he will clone the code, he will clone the repository, and per that this command is used to make a copy of repository from an existing remote repository URL. If you want a local copy of the repository from the GitHub, we will run this command and it will copy the repository from remote repository to the local repository. Another copy will be available, and a developer can work on it. So generally this is the syntax, and this is example: git clone https github.com and your repository name and files. So next slide is git add command. This command is used to add one or more files to the staging area, like that is indexing area. To add one file, we'll run command git add and followed by file name. For example, git add main.java. So if you create a file name with main.java and you need to add it to the staging area, you need to run this command git add file name. And if you have created multiple files and you need to do it in a single command, then it will be like git add star. So you're running this command, all files will be added to the staging area. Next is like git commit command. So git commit is like the command changes the head, and it records or snapshots the file permanently into the version history with a message. Nothing but with a version history, it will save the files in the local repository. That means whenever it saves the file, it will records the three things. One is who done the change, what is the mail ID, and at what time and date that was done. So using the command git commit -m followed by the commit message, it will be saved. And if you have multiple changes, need to save it. Like this command commits any files added in the repository with git add, and also commits any files you changed since then. If you have multiple changes, then you running command git commit -a will save all changes to the repository. So next is git status. So once you done the so like for example you committed it, then next you're like you want to do it, you want to check the status, you will run this command. So git status command is used to display the status of the working directory and the staging area. It allows you to see which changes has been staged and which haven't, and which files aren't being tracked by Git. It does not show any information about the committed projects history. For this you need to use the git log. Git log is a command. So when you run git log, it will shows the all history of the log history of that particular project, and it also lists the files that haven't changed and these still need to add or commit. So we already shown this one also, like we run couple of times git status when we're doing some when you're doing our practice sessions. So next is git push. So it is used to upload local repository content to the remote repository. Pushing is an act of transfer commits from local repository to the remote repository, that is from your local laptop git repository to the GitHub remote repository. It is the complement to git fetch, but whereas fetching imports commits to the local branches on comprehensively. So pushing exports command to remote branches. Remote branches are configured by using the git remote commands. Push is capable of overwriting changes, and caution should be taken when you are pushing. So you should be very cautious when you are pushing from your local repository to the remote repository. So syntax is the git push origin master. So even if you have multiple things to push, you can run the command git push -all. It pushes all branches to the server repository or remote repository. So syntax is git push -all. So next is git pull. So git pull is the command pulls like command is to receive data from the GitHub. So when a developer wants to pull the code from a remote repository, he will be using this command. It fetches and merges changes on the remote server to the working directory. So it will download some, or simple language, it downloads the code to the local repository. So example is like syntax is git pull, and you will be giving URL like example like git pull https GitHub. This is the user user name on the on the remote repository, and this is the repository. Next is Git Branch Command. So this command lists all the branches available in the repository. So if you run git branch, whatever available is branches are there. Here we have only one branch, and that is heading to master. So if you have multiple branches, it will be listing multiple branches here. So next is a Git Merge Command. So this command is used to merge the specified branches history into current branch. Syntax is git merge and the branch name. If you see here, we already merge it, so it says already up to date. If you have anything not merged, then it will say that merge successful, something like that. So next is a git log command. So we were discussing about this before. So this command is to check the commit history, whatever the commits done before. If you run this, it will give all commit details. So if you have 10 commits and you want only 4, you can run git log -4. By default, if no argument passed, git log shows the most recent commits first. So we can limit the number of log entries displayed by passing a number as option, such as like here mentioned, like -4, to show only the last 4 entries. So like this is the syntax. And last but not the least, git remote command. So this is the syntax: git remote add origin URL. So git remote command is used to connect your local repository to the remote server. The command allows you to create, view and delete connections to the other repositories. These connections are more like bookmarks rather than direct links to the other repositories. So this command does not provide real-time access to the repositories. Example is like a git remote add origin, and this is the origin path for that URL. So these are the few commands, and as I said, just download the cheat sheet from Google, and just try to stick it near your desk or wherever, like that will help you to use the commands in a better way. So that's all for this video, and we will look at few more commands in next video. Thank you. Bye bye.